time to strap in and get ready. The leaders in AFL SuperCoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse and Skitty.
Good evening and welcome to the Panic Room. That is round 9 of the AFL SuperCoach season. I am the horse, and with me today is our man Deadly, the man who eats numbers for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional snack. How you going, mate?
I'm panicking.
It is time to panic, isn't it? There's a bit going on. We're about to go through it, but joining us by, or I guess it is popular demand, that people have been shouting for him from the rooftops, it would seem, just gallivanting around the world, holidaying overseas, casually just strolling his way into inside the top 2K, Pete? How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back. It's good to be back. I've been kind of really craving to talk some SuperCoach with you guys. So now that I'm back, I'm happy that I've jumped on straight into it. High-end demand's an interesting way of describing it, but sure, some people might be interested. But the thing is, do you know what? I was still talking SuperCoach while I was up there. I made a couple of little short videos. Didn't stop me. Sitting in the sun, it was great.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, the footy does start a little bit later tonight, so don't have to be in as much of a rush to go through the teams tonight, but we will try and get this out within the hour, so then you guys at home are as prepared as you can be for round 9. We can already see on the screen here with who's in, who's out, whatever else. We'll go through it all. We think Erasmus is pretty safe for tonight moving forward. What do we think? You'll find out. But hit like, subscribe, and the bell. We call it being the triple banger. But also, if you end up listening to us on audio, give us that 5-star review. Helps get us out into the algorithm that is banter-minded, SuperCoach-minded people within the community. Now, before we do kick off with this game, I do have to shout out our major sponsors, and that is these guys, Draftstars. The show is sponsored by Draftstars, Australia's #1 site for daily fantasy sport. Download the Draftstars app right now to compete against other sports fans across Australia and New Zealand for huge prize pools. As you'd know, Deadly, you've won a few times so far. No season-long commitments and new contests to join every day. There is nothing like the thrill of Draftstars. To sign up, to Australia's leaders in DFS, use the link in our description. It's the best way to support us. Remember, this isn't fantasy. This is Draftstars. Deadly, you've won it a couple of times over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, game's easy.
If Deadly can win, I'm sure you can at home, ladies and gentlemen, too.
Yeah, no,
link
it is
in the description below.
It is a good game, and as long as you know your footy, you'll be able to win, I reckon. It's pretty bog standard.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially tonight, so Draftstars jumping on board and being one of the major sponsors of the show, they're creating member-only Draftstars tournament. So it'll cost you $10 to go in for your chance to win guaranteed prize money each competition that we run. So that is solely specific to Insight Fantasy Sports. If you're interested, the link is down below. Now, Petey, let's talk footy. Patrick Voss, Neil Erasmus, and Cooper Simpson in. Draper, who looked ordinary last week, out. Hayden Young, 12-week hammy. It almost sounds like a tendon hammy, out. The super sub, Quinton Narkle, he's out. How do you see Freo shaping back after perhaps the worst performance that we've seen out of them for quite some time?
So I got back from overseas, and this was the first football game that I had watched in a few weeks.
Oh, no.
Holy shit! I was like, "What happened to AFL?" Like it was that bad. I haven't seen Fremantle play that poorly in so long. It was just. It's like they weren't even there. But one positive to take out of it, and it's not a positive because I love Hayden Young. I think he's a great player. Mm-hmm. He's out for the next 10, 11 weeks. Honestly, I've got a little list already for targets for 2026, and he entered that list on Friday night because let's be honest, he's going to be pretty cheap next year, and I'm going to take a punt on him. But again, it does mean that there is a spot open in that midfield. And Neil Erasmus, we know what this guy can do at a waffle level anyway. And if he can bring a part of that, 80% of that or 70% of that, he's going to be scoring well enough. He's on the bubble. He's got DPP. Sure. Now, Nod is listed as a test and should, in theory, be playing Waffle this week, but there's no guarantee that means he's straight back in next week. There's no guarantee that he still plays Waffle this week. He could be on managed minutes. They don't want to bring him back too quickly, and then he gets injured again. So it's possible that he's still a week or two away himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then if Neil Erasmus performs, then maybe they just keep him in the for a couple more weeks as well. Jaeger Amira is still at TBC, so who knows?
Jaeger Amira is still 5 weeks away. Young is 10 to 12 away. So you look at that. Erasmus is getting first crack at that tonight, and if he plays well, he'll stick. He'll be a cash cow, and he might be your avenue to if he makes 200K in 3 or 4 weeks, Deadly, he could be your way to Butters or Bontempelli or one of these high-end primos to upgrade alongside, a Bice or a Ashcroft or someone like that when the time's right.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. He's going to get a fair chunk of CBAs tonight. There's a lot of CBAs on offer. I have good word, and I think you do too, Horse, that Luke Jackson is going to have a fair bit of midfield time in this game. So we'll probably see a 5-man midfield of Sarong, Brayshaw, Johnson, Erasmus, and Jackson. Mm-hmm. And he'll get good enough time in there to where I think he's a very safe play at this point in time. And I was looking to double upgrade this week and get Hustwaite in as my rookie. I'm probably now looking to get both of them in, Hustwaite and Erasmus.
So we're looking at this, and we're looking at the Collingwood team: Jeremy Howe, Ed Allen, Lockie Sullivan, Oleg Markov in, Maynard, DeGoey, Mychek, Pendlebury. By my calculations, there's 12,376 games worth of experience that's gone out of the Collingwood midfield. But we know that Pendlebury doesn't like travelling if it's not to the MCG. So that's a fair reason for him being out. For both these teams, Pete, I kind of like if he took the punt on Ned Long, I really like his opportunity that's presented itself in this game for him. Your Dacosses, your Caleb Sarongs, and your Andrew Brayshaw. You look through this list. Can you identify one tagger?
I mean, no. That's the thing. Fremantle don't tag. They actually have an anti-tag. Well, at least Jaeger Amira was being used as an anti-tag. So he was bumping James Jordan, for example, right? And making sure that, he got guys like Sarong and Brayshaw into the list. So there's no taggers. Anyone that took a punt on Ned Long, pretty well, actually. And I'm pretty upset that I didn't, because I was talking a lot about him over the summer, and then I didn't take, because of the elevated price, I didn't take a punt, and I've been upset since. So I think that he's a really good option. So if people have him and they're thinking of offboarding him now, don't do that. This week especially.
Yep. I see there's Chris Cox and others in the chat. I am highlighting your questions, and we will get to them. For me, I like Freo tonight. I think they're going to bounce back.
I'll go Freo too, I reckon.
I actually agree with you too. I can see Fremantle knocking them off, which means like a Brayshaw or a Sarong could be really good VC options. I'm tempted to whack a VC.
Only taggers I see in this game, and that's if I don't think either team will tag, but if it absolutely comes down to it, Corey Wagner could potentially, and Ollie Markov has tagged before. We know Perryman's tagged before, one of them two, but I can't see any tags going on in this game. Side bottom, obviously, but he's playing more around the ball proper, and he's not going to tag.
With the amount of midfielders in, maybe Perriman gets an uptick in CBAs, which might mean a bit of a tag or at least some defensive pressure there.
Defensive pressure. I think any VC option is probably safe in this game, depending on if you think they go big, they probably will.
Let's go through the next game, Deadly. So next game is St Kilda versus Carlton at the G. We say Mateus Philippe in for Toby Travaglia, who was an unused sub last week. Jack Silvagni, Jackson Binns, and how does Francis Evans get a game? That's unreal. But anyway, Sam Doherty, Lockie Fogarty out, and Matt Carroll. That shocks me. Lockie Fogarty's actually been quite good up forward for Carlton.
Francis Evans has done absolutely nothing at VFL level either. So it's got me stuffed.
Voss has got money on Saints in this game. But anyway, we look through the teams here, and again, is there going to be a Marcus Windhager? I've changed the W on the H train. They're a bit dyslexic. Is he going to go to anyone? Do you think with his running power, Deadly, could he go to Walsh?
I think I've stuck through this most of the week, but I reckon he's going to go to Hewitt.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of where I'm still landing. It could go to a few of these midfielders. I don't think he does go to Cripps at all. I think it's probably one of Walsh, Hewitt, or Chera. My money lands on Hewitt if I was to bet on it.
Yeah.
If you go look at Walsh's last two games against the Saints, which were 24 and 23, he's gone 139 and 130. So even if Windhager goes on him, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Even Chera's last game was a 130 plus against St Kilda too. I'm thinking, what was Cripps's last game against St Kilda? It was a 106 and a 66. It was a 106 and then a 66 prior. So I think they're going to put some attention into Cripps, which means Chera and Walsh might get off the chain.
I will say this about Walsh. His CBAs are dropping each week, and I can't see that changing. I think they want to get him more uncontested footy. I think that'll stay that way. They want to keep him out wide, getting outside uncontested footy. Because if you go through it, his uncontested balls are completely down. His contested balls are up, and he's not playing as good. Now that he's getting more uncontested, it's looking better. He's getting more score involvements. Carlton are winning football games. They've got to keep him wide. So I think that if they do keep him wide, I can't see Windhager tagging him if he's out on a wing or playing an outside pressure. He's going to be inside.
No, I think stock's up too for Nozay, Wanganeen-Malera and Jack Sinclair with the inclusion of Philippou. That means that they'll get to retain their spot across half back, where we know that they're very good and accumulate a lot of the footy for SuperCoach. For Carlton, sorry, Pete, before you do go, Charlie Curnow is going to be a late test. He was hurt at training today and may still be a late out. But we do know via our Carlton contact that Pitternet will not play this week again, regardless of Curnow.
Let's hope it's Matt Carroll that comes back in for me.
Yeah, I hope it's that.
I hope so too.
Yeah. For me and Pete, let's hope it's Carroll.
Who do you think's going to be sub? Pete?
This is the thing that I was going to say. I'm concerned because anyone that's going early on Boxall, right, should be worried because Philippou's come in and he's replaced Travalia, who was an unused sub. And Philippou is most likely going to be playing midfield, you assume, right? So Maxwell's a forward, Liam O'Connell's a defender, Collard, I do forget, it does escape me what position he plays in. Half forward, see? Maybe it's Boxall, maybe it's Collard.
Out of that bench, they're not going to, I don't think that they could sub O'Connell. He's mainly just been playing wing, but I doubt it. Hall's pretty safe over Collard at least anyway, so I don't think he's a sub. It'll be between Collard and Boxall. But I think with them dropping Wanganeen-Miller and Sinclair's CBAs all the way back down to 0 on the weekend, Boxall might be right as long as Hugo Garcia doesn't completely steal them.
That is true. That is true. He's still.
It's a big watch. It's a big watch. It could definitely happen. But yeah. I would go early on Boxall is what I would say right now.
No, I agree. I think if you've got Erasmus available, which he is, and we'll find out soon to confirm that if he's sub or not. Hopefully not, obviously. And then we find out that if you've already got Hustwaite as well, Boxall's the next best pick probably. Mm-hmm. But it's still risky. If you don't have one of the other two, I'd rather go the other two and then go with Boxall next week. He's going to be the only good downgrade next week anyway.
Yeah. I don't hate the Joe Fonte idea next week, but we'll get to that later.
Let's go to the next game, lads. Melbourne versus Hawthorn. Jacob Van Ruin is back for Melbourne. Clayton Oliver is back after his week's rest. If anyone from the AFL media is listening in, give the bloke a fucking break and just let him get back to playing footy. And Matthew Jefferson is back for the Ds. Jack Viney confirmed out. Jake Melksham out. And the cone himself, Harrison Petty, out. In comes Carl Amon after that 1 week concussion issue. And Tom Barras is having a sleep in this week. For Melbourne, Hawthorn haven't beaten them in the last 7 games, Deadly.
That'll change this week, I reckon. It's a new Hawthorn team. It'll change.
Yeah. Is Carl Amon, is he an option?
No.
Why?
So if you look at top 6, right? I'll give you some defenders you can lock into top 6 right now. Lockie Whitfield.
Yep.
Harry Sheasel.
Yep.
I reckon you can pretty safely lock one of Sinclair and Wang in, maybe even both. So take at least 3 there. I reckon Jordan Clark's due for a bounce back. He'll be fine. Then Lockie Ash has been playing unreal, but does that keep up? Who knows? Zorko, he's going to be up there by come season's end. So there's 6 I've named already at least. Carl Amon's probably the outlier there. Do I think he's an option? I wouldn't take him over a few of these guys that are even cheaper. Like if you don't have a Zorko or a Holmes or even a Sinclair, I wouldn't take him over them guys.
That's fair. How do you see this one going, Pete?
I can see Hawthorn winning by a decent amount. Actually, I don't see Melbourne putting up much of a fight.
Yeah, Rosie.
I don't think anyone's an option either. If he was in the late 480s, then maybe. But I think now this is about the price that you'd be paying for him. Like this is about his value price. Yeah. Myself.
Okay, so Max Gawn. He's gone bang, bang the last couple of weeks and scored ridiculously well. If you're looking, you've got him. I don't. Deadly, do you have him?
I do. I captained him the past 2 weeks.
Same. It's been amazing.
I loved every second of it.
You blokes are flogs. Anyway, so for the people that don't have him, I would suggest not getting him this week because even the very best players at SuperCoach don't score that well consistently. And Lloyd Meek, he's not a bad ruckman. And would you expect 120 out of him? Probably.
Yeah.
But who's not to say that TDK is not going to get 120 this week either against Rowan Marshall, who's more of a follower than what he is a ruckman. So I would suggest, even though Maxi Gawn's got the 38 or whatever it is break even and he's going to be over 700K, if you're jumping on Maxi Gawn this week, you're chasing last week's points. And I would encourage you just to hold tight for a little bit because he will drop in price in time.
Yeah. To put it simply, Max Gawn the past 2 weeks he went bang. He's played Nank, who's the second worst defending ruckman in the league currently, SuperCoach wise. Mm-hmm. And Matt Flynn, anyone on West Coast is easily the worst by far and away. Everyone scores good against them. So just in that, he was basically expected to go big the past 2 games.
Yep.
And if you didn't have him for that run, there's no point in getting him now.
Deadly.
Hello.
Does Finn McGuinness go to Christian Petracca?
No. Just because when Track does rotate forward, he's not going to... Like, McGuinness is never one to drop tags unless it's fully. If he goes on him from the centre bounce and stays there, he barely runs in. If Track goes forward, he's not going to drop off of him. So I can't see him going to him. I don't think McGuinness tags in this game. I think he just plays as a standard half forward.
Okay. Fair enough. Anyone for Hawthorn you think we should be talking about, Pete?
For Hawthorn, I don't mind Jai Newcomb. Is he playing?
Yeah. Good shout. He's been scoring well.
He's been scoring well. I just want to point out that Christian Petracca's last game against the Hawks, he scored 146. So I think that if there is a tag, it'll go to Clary.
I agree.
You think it'll go to Clary?
McGuinness loves to tag Clary. He loves to go under Clary's skin. It's his favourite pastime.
Clary hasn't been playing that well, though. That would surprise me.
That's why I don't think he tags at all. That's why I don't think
Clary's, I'm going to put this out there. Clary's last 2 games against the Hawks are 82 and 84.
And both with Ben McGuinness riding him.
Okay.
Also, Henry Hustwaite, if you haven't got him, I think I like him better than Erasmus still.
Get him.
Oh, 100%. I agree. Pay the extra 3K or 2K, whatever it is.
If you don't have Hustwaite, get him in. I think he's a no-brainer. He's even if he doesn't stay in when Nash comes back in 2 weeks, he's going to make 100K in that time anyway. That's a good trade-in.
Yeah, agreed.
Come stai, Massimo D'Ambrosio? Welcome back. Come stai, Massimo? Yes, very nice. Score me a ton, mate. And then we could do that every week. Come stai? Yes, very nice. Thank you, Bella Bono.
Was having a look at I was having a look at the betting markets last week, and Massimo D'Ambrosio was like $1.45 for 15, and I said, that's tempting. And he had about 15 in the first quarter. So
Yeah, okay.
it was his first finally good week.
Good. Keep it up, Massimo. Next game, mate. We got Essendon with, it's almost like a TAC Cup side put together from the last couple of years versus the Sydney Swans. You would think that Sydney would get the job done here. For Essendon, Lewis Hayes, congratulations, mate, your debut. Bendigo's own.
Bendigo's finest.
Yes, Archer Day Weeks. Friend of the show, subscriber to the show. Congratulations, mate. On behalf of Insight, it's fucking awesome to see you get a go, mate. Go well, and hopefully you get a couple of touches, kick a goal, celebrate, and a flag dons win. Jai Caldwell as well in, Dylan Shield in, Sardell Hawley in as well. Sardell Hawley is still only, 124K, Deadly?
Yes, but just looking at this team list, I originally thought when I found out Archer Day Wicks was going to play that he would be the sub. Now looking at it, I think El Hawley is locked in again.
Okay.
Personally.
I think so too.
Same.
Yep, I think we see Archer Day Weeks named on a wing. I'm probably thinking, and feel free to correct me, mate, because you watch a lot of VFL footy. I think he'll play forward.
Him and Nick Martin will swap. Nick Martin will play on the wing. He'll play half forward. That'll be it.
Yep. Previous Bendigo Pioneers under-18s captain, has represented Victoria before, was injured for most of his draft year, hence why he dropped so far. Definitely has some upside to play some good senior footy with Essendon. Out is Jordan Ridley, Jade Gresham, Jai Menzies, Elijah Zardes for those that held Sell, and Harry Jones with that disgusting-looking dislocated ankle where he might only miss 4 weeks, Pete.
I'm surprised. It looked like he was going to miss a lot more than that with that injury, but good on that. 4 weeks is a positive, definitely a positive. I feel bad for anyone that held Zardes. I got rid of him when he first broke his hand, and I didn't look back. You know what? I'm looking forward to Archer Day Weeks in like a couple of weeks. He's been tearing the VFL apart, and I've just been wondering when are Essendon finally going to play this kid. And I'm glad that it's finally happened. Because I think he's 99K in SuperCoach, and he's got D22. So man, there were a lot of people that started him as a loophole option too, and now he's playing. So I kind of wish that I did that because I really was tempted to. But anyway, that was interesting. So definitely want to keep an eye on.
I normally reserve this for only the finest of players, Deadly, but here you go, Art.
You gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing. You get me?
He's the finest of players. I really rate Archer Day Weeks. I'm a big fan of his work. Talking about thoughts on him, he's still a definite sub risk, even if he holds his spot. He's not one we can go early on, even at the price. We got to wait and see. If he's not the sub, doesn't look like he's going to be a sub third game, then we can get him in. He's not one we can go early on.
Gotcha. For Sydney, Ben Patton in. So for those that have been using him as a loopy, bad luck. He's back. Lewis Melican with that right arm knuckle sandwich to the face of Bedford. Means he's got to miss a game. James Jordan, 100 games. Congratulations, mate. Not tag Zach Merritt.
Quickly, Horse. Melican out, Patton in. That's a tall for a small. One of these smalls is going to have to play probably on Langford as a tall. And it's probably a Blakey, would you assume? Someone's going to have to play tall.
Yep.
And then someone's got to go in a lockdown role on a Nick Martin or something like that. Do we reckon it's Bice like last week, or is it Sam Wicks this week?
No, I think it's Sam Wicks.
I hope so. I sure hope you're right.
Wicks is a bit taller, is he not, as well?
Bice is 186, Wicks is 181, so Bice is actually taller.
Okay, didn't know how tall Bice was. I swear he looked shorter on TV.
I didn't realise Nick Blakey was almost 2 meters tall, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah. He's like 6'6". Yeah.
He's 198 centimeters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes, you know what it is? It's when the players are playing against taller players, when you see them around other taller players, you think they're short. Like a Jack McRae, I forget how tall Jack McRae is. I just assume he's short. He's just not. He's a big guy.
So if Blakey's neck was smaller, he'd only be 5'6". So
true.
A lot of that is in neck, the girth of the neck. A lot of people bringing in Chad Warner this week, Deadly.
Still do it. I can't. There's not. If there's any tags, it's just going to be stoppages of pressure, and Chad just sprints away from stoppage pressure anyway. It'll be a Heaney that'll cop some attention while he's in there. Chad will be fine, I reckon. I think he's probably the safest primo, not named Isaac Rankin if you don't have him.
No. Classified Veggie, I do see your comments, mate. We will get to them at the end. I think Sydney are probably too good for us in these one.
Yeah, probably, and it's sad to say.
Yep. Want to go to the next game, Deadly?
I shouldn't have brought up height. I'm getting slandered now.
You are. The Gold Coast Suns are on their way to Darwin, and they're taking on a team that's got bodyguards all around Bailey Dale or Daly Bale and the Western Bulldogs. So Braden Fiorini has made it back onto an AFL list. Is he going to play?
Yeah, I don't know where.
You kind of have to play him, don't you?
I mean, they've dropped basically 3 wingers, so he's basically forced onto a wing. Ben Long back in. See 2 smalls come in. He's going to have to play wing, but he's not going to be an option, or he's not going to put up these VFL video game numbers he's been putting up. No way.
No.
What's he averaging? 30. I think he's averaging 38.5
38
for the season.
Oh,
he's averaging 170 fantasy points in the VFL.
I mean, is he an option? Is he someone that, like, if he dominates?
What's he priced at? Where he's priced at?
393.
He's almost Nah, I don't think so. It's just the lack of it, because he's just been playing full-time mid in the VFL. He's not going to get mid huge minutes like he has been with, Raul Anderson, Took, all them guys in there.
Yep. Clossy, Ben Long, and Malcolm in the middle is in. Ethan Reid out. Lockie Weller. Geez, that was a good number 2 pick that they used to get him from Freo. David Spitz and Swallows, and Connor Budarik out. So for Western Bulldogs, for those that are in the Patreon, they will have known about Adam Treloar being out. We sent the message out about midday today. I am not going to go into detail as to why he's out, but it is injury related. And the bus is out, unfortunately, for those that went early on him. Hopefully we see him back sooner rather than later. Harvey Gallagher and Caleb Poulter in. How do you boys see this one going?
I don't think this is a Bevo thing why Bus is out. I think, it is, but it's sort of, he's been forced to do it. The tools that they've got, the tall forwards and the small forwards that they've got, they can't keep going with that, and having Bus is just a standard back. They've brought in Gallagher and Poulter, who are both going to play half forward. So it's they just need the forward stocks, and they need to bring their big defenders back, which is fair enough. I got Gold Coast quite comfortably in this one as well.
Yep. Pete?
I think Gold Coast get it over the line, definitely. I don't think it'll be comfortable. I think it'll be a tight again.
I was thinking, is 4 goals comfortable? I say 4 goals is pretty comfortable.
Gold Coast plus 6 goals. Now, our man Hurls, he's going, for those that don't know, he's going to go a very poddish route this week, and he's going Matt Kennedy.
I like it. I really like it. He's going to be very consistent. He's not going to be a guy that's going to have these spike scores like a...
Hey, tell Deadly to shut up. You're the main star here.
He's been the bloke asking for the most.
Hang on, can we do this? There we go. And then
that's fine. Yeah,
and then we do this.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair enough.
Can you see over the comments, Deadly?
Yep. Oh no. Yeah, I like it. No, I like the Matt Kennedy pod play, to put it simply. He's very consistent.
Yep. Who do you think is going to be sub for these teams? For me, I think it's going to be probably at Rossas. And, I was told by our Dogs contact earlier today that it's going to be Harvey Gallagher. So given that they were spot on about the Trelaw news, there's no reason to have to argue that it won't be Harvey Gallagher.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything in this one, Pete, you want to talk about? Are you an owner of Bont?
I am not. I'm not an owner of Bont. Although I'm also not going to be paying almost $700K for him. He's gonna have a down game. And when I say a down game, I don't mean a 60. I mean like a flat ton. He's going to have a flat ton eventually, and then he's going to drop down to a mid 600s, and then that's probably when I'll try to snap him up. But yeah, he's untaggable. His worst game ever was his second game of AFL. And it was still a pretty good game. I think he still had like 15 disposals or something. It was stupid. He's just a freak. But I don't know. Because I got Gawn instead. I could only pick one. I went with Gawn.
That's right. We'll move on to the next one. The showdown, Adelaide versus Port. And
Marius, yes.
It's Marius is in. Lorenz has been dropped. So Dante Vicentini is in. Very interesting because Jordan, not so sweet, has been pretty ordinary lady. The Cardinal Sin is in as well, alongside Christian Moraes, Jed McEntee, and Ryan, no hamstrings left, Burton. Out is Lorenz, Willie Rioli on some personal leave. Jordan Sweet, Logan Evans, and Joe Berry.
Thank God Moraes is back. I had word that Vicentini that was going to rock. It's come to fruition. I mean, Vicentini's been real good at Sandford level. He's probably not going to be an option, even though he's 250K. Real winners and losers for this, the ins and outs. It's Will Lorenz. Anyone that was looking at him, you got to wait now.
Yep.
But
he was good last week.
I don't doubt that when he comes back in, he could be an option. But I hope it's a little bit later compared to a Boxall week or something like that next week. Hopefully it's the week after he comes back in next week.
Yep. We looked through the Port Adelaide side. Connor Rosey still at halfback. He will get DPP come round 12. So for me, I was a previous owner and I sold him.
I think that was current owner.
Yeah. Anyway,
I've held. It's been great.
Good man. I think I'm okay with swallowing my pride and getting him back after the round 12 bye. I think I can afford to wait up until then. And then with the way that he's scoring, he's not blowing teams or opponents away when we're talking SuperCoach points. So he got that one monster score, but then it's been a 120s, 110s. Last week was a 77, I think it was. So if he can consistently stay around that 100, 110 and be at 530 to 550 come upgrade season after he finishes at the bye, then I'm not having to break the bank to get him there, and I can afford to go to my more poddish players that I want to bring in, or my primo pods that I want to bring in. For Adelaide, Minge's Hinge is back in. Brodie Smith is out after his one-game cameo. James Peatling looked really good in the Matt Crouch role. Hopefully we never see Matt Crouch again. But let's talk about your man, Deadly.
Ben Keys?
Yeah.
Are we changing the line?
No, because I've made the line. But I think he'll kick 2 or 3 in this game.
You talking nicely about Ben Keys.
I hate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes. Pigs are flying. The birds are chirping. Everything's going good. I hope you're right, because he'll probably score 80 with 3 goals.
Yeah. You get that on big jobs. Someone that's been a little bit underrated before we get to Isaac Rankin, Max Michelini, Pete. He's been averaging 85 over the past 3 weeks. In draft format, I've found him to be a nice little pickup. But when we're talking the classic, he's 340K with a break-even of 28. If he goes, so the last 3 weeks he's gone 79, 70, 104. Probably not someone we can go to, but in your draft format, I'd be encouraging people to even just slap him on the bench, and yeah, if it works, then happy days.
I geniusly started him, and then even more geniusly, so like another level, binned him to the to the waivers.
To the waivers.
One bad game, and then he went on a tear immediately after it. I actually had him and what's his name? Wayne Malera as well. Yeah. And again, I got rid of them after one bad game, and they've gone absolutely nuts since. So my draft league is nowhere near what my classic league is. Like, I'm doing really well in classic. Draft, I'm just gonna have to forget about. But yeah, he's definitely a good option in draft. Honestly, he's looked really good. Even
Isaac Rankin.
He's been okay.
Yeah. Draft wise, quickly, if you need just even the guys who might have spike scores that can play on matchups, any of those sort of halfback defenders are always nice to have on the bench. So like a Mike Smicalani, just the guys who play more lockdown roles, a Noah Ainsworth's always nice to have around. Just a few guys like that. They're good for a couple spike games. They'll never be consistent, but if you can pick the spike games, you're laughing.
Let's talk about Isaac Rankin.
He's good. Get him.
He's a must-have, I think.
Yeah,
absolute gun.
If you don't have him, get him.
I started him, and I've been thrilled.
I didn't start him, and I'm definitely getting him this week. I've toyed with getting him almost every single week. Now's the week to finally do it. There is no doubt in my mind that he is a top 6 forward. I think and we spoke about Adelaide's run home yesterday. It's one of the juiciest ones in the whole league. Isaac Rankin, you've got to have. There's going to be games where he's even a captain option.
Pete, did you end up bringing in Sid Draper?
No, I did not.
Smart.
Because he was dropped. Yeah, because he was dropped.
He's still 100. Still 168k, break even of 87. He's still not in, and he's going to bleed cash before we can even consider him.
I don't know why they're taking Zach Taylor in over him, though. I really don't understand that.
It's an interesting choice. Yeah. It's an interesting choice. I think it's basically what we feared. So we feared this in the preseason, that there were just too many Adelaide midfielders.
Yeah.
And we thought the same thing with Levi Ashcroft. And obviously Levi Ashcroft has popped off, and that hasn't happened. But it really has happened. So this was the reason why a lot of people were scared away from the Levi Ashcrofts and the Sid Drapers. And that was because there's too many midfielders in these two clubs. One's obviously done great and the other one hasn't. So this is the risk. You're seeing it firsthand. Definitely is an option maybe later in the year if he comes back, his break-even drops, and maybe he's one of your final downgrades and he's got DPP. And that's actually not too bad with the easy draw coming up. I just want to point out that Adelaide West Coast twice in the back half of the year. Melbourne, Richmond, and North Melbourne.
Their run home is so good. Theirs and Collingwood's run home is so good.
That's why I brought in Jordan Dawson this week.
Yeah, I want to get that go. I want to get that. I reckon I can get Dawson and Warner in the same trade somehow. I just got to figure out how. Just because we're a lot of math.
Adelaide comfortably in this one, I reckon. Or not comfortably, but I reckon Adelaide got it. They always get up for derbies.
I think you're right.
And too many moving parts in Port. You can't win football games with half the side getting flipped.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, just before we move on to the next game, Deadly and I were doing some I guess testing in the studio beforehand, and this is what Deadly and I look like without our makeup on. So as we can see, Horse here on the left, and then the mature Deadly on the right hand side. What do you think, Deadly?
I envy Kizza that he spent time to make that. He spent time to put that through AI.
I like it. Wait, that wasn't real.
I tell you what, I wish I had a mustache like that. My mustache is nothing compared to the thing that baby's got. Bring that back up again. Look at that. Look at that mustache.
Hang on. There it is.
I wish.
It's thick.
Gorgeous. I wish. Nothing compared to that thing.
Since you've been gone, Pete, we've been giving Deadly shit about being extremely young. So that's where that joke's come from.
Call me short, Shit, mate.
I've seen all the comments actually. I feel bad. I'm still gonna laugh, but I feel.
Hey, Pete, your Tigers. Off you go, mate. Let's talk. Kane McCulloch's in.
I'm happy. Kane McCall has been doing really well in the VFL. Really well. Interesting to see Tom Sims. I don't think he'll actually play, but it's interesting to see that he's getting close to a game maybe. Look, I actually think Richmond's been much better than we expected. People were saying that they weren't going to win a game for the year, and they've won 2, and both are against finals teams. I say I do that because Carlton. But look, there's some. They look okay. One that hasn't really popped off this year is Tim Taranto. So maybe keep it. I think he's actually at a decent price for a player that is someone that not many people have, obviously, for obvious reasons, but he's got the potential to go bang at some point too. And if you're shopping at a discount, you could do worse.
For sure.
You had Jacob Hopper in draft as well, just to talk about Richmond, because there's not much to talk about with Richmond, to be honest. If you had Jacob Hopper in draft, but the fact he hasn't broken down yet, you're laughing. He's playing real good.
Would you sell him?
There is definitely potential trade value because, let's be honest, he's probably not one that's going to win you your league. But he's one you could maybe ship off to a league winner.
It depends. If you're sitting there and you're firmly in the top 4 of your league, and he's your M3, it's not too bad. M4, you're in a really good position. It really depends on where you're sitting, where he is, as well. I'm not making finals this season at all. So I'm thinking of just doing some wild trades. If I had Jacob Hopper, I'd be trading him out.
Something that's going to hurt, lads. Neil Erasmus has just been named sub.
No. Shit. What do I do?
So they've made the call to go with Erasmus.
Makes my decision easier.
That's terrible.
We'll refresh this and go. We'll go back up. Erasmus and all of the subs up here. So if you're planning on going Erasmus, I wouldn't now. Nope.
What do we got? All right, where do we go to now, lads? We're on the fly. We call this the panic room. People are. That's right, Armored Frog. Hit the panic button. What are we going to do?
We need a soundbite for that.
We need. Yeah.
Just looking through the teams just quickly. I'm just browsing over them. Upgrades. Jeez, it's not much going on. Jeez, Lawson Humphrey's out.
What do you do?
Geez, I don't know. Who do you go early on?
Where? What do you do? Box is the best one.
Coach, it's probably Box.
It's probably Box.
Fuck.
Yuck.
There's a bit going on.
Yeah, I'm looking through SuperCoach now. The best, it's Boxall, or if El Hawley's not the sub, I don't mind going El Hawley. And that's it.
Sandy Brock named on field.
If Brock keeps his spot, I don't mind it. But that's 1 week play with McGovern
out. They've also got Bo Allen out for suspended, so he's probably back next week.
He's probably done next week. I think it's Boxall.
I think it
just has to be.
I've just traded out Erasmus for Box. I refuse to trade in a player that is sub. I just refuse. And that also means that he's most likely out the second that Nod's available. They're not giving him an opportunity. So his job security is horrible now.
So this is an easy decision for me because I've got good old what's his name Hustwaite to still trade in, so I'm fine. But for a guy like you, Horse, are you probably looking at Buckshall now?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Hurls would probably say the same if he was here. I think you're probably going to go.
Hurls is in the comments. He'll be able to drop us some knowledge.
Yeah, you're probably going to go Boxall now, Pete, as well.
I've literally just done the trade as we spoke. We're speaking right now. I went early on Hustwaite as a luxury. Last week, I was sitting exhausted at an airport with no sleep, and I was like, I can do a trade this week. And I literally just traded someone down to Hustwaite just to make cash for this week. So I've already got him. So if you're thinking if you need to go down, Boxall's the next best pick. I can still see him being sub, which is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Not. But if he is, I mean, at least you've got the cheapest available option. I wouldn't go early on an Archer Day Wicks. That's real early, before debut.
Yeah, no, you can't.
You can't.
If El Hawley and Boxall are the subs and there's just nothing to do, if we come to Sunday, I don't hate the idea of a Sandy Brock 1 week play, and hopefully he just comes back in at some point during the season. It's probably last resort. I don't like it, but it's probably last resort.
Yeah, but thing is, what defender? How are you doing that? That's the thing. Like most people have Matt Carroll on their bench at the moment. Like I've got Carroll and Hasty on my bench at the moment.
It's gross. It's very gross. It's
gross.
It does suck for people that we're planning to bring on in Erasmus this week. But tell you what, it's fantastic for me. I'll sit here with my Henry Hustwaite and live life.
How? No, I could put actually. Is Brock on his bubble?
Yes, Brock is on the bubble, 99k.
He is. I'm just going to go and bring him up. So if he scores a 35, which you assume he will, he goes up 42k. His last 2 games were an 80 and a 39. He's got Richmond, so he could, in theory, have a decent game. Why do I not hate this all of a sudden?
So we haven't spoken about North Melbourne yet, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I know you want to go through each team, but since we know the subs and we know Neil Erasmus is there.
Joe Fonte
or Riley Hardiman? Which one would you go?
Fonte. I reckon comfortably. I reckon Boxall's number 1. If he's not sub, then if it's not El Hawley, you can fall back on, then Fonte. That's my 3. Surely all 3 of them can't be the sub or can't be affected. Then it's just unlucky at that point. And then if it gets really desperate, I don't mind Hardiman at that point. I probably prefer Hardiman to Brock, actually.
I actually think that I think Brock's the better option myself. I like the idea.
Those 3, it's got to be them 3 before both of them, I reckon.
So, Pete, there was a lot of talk about Jasper Elgar in the preseason, and then he sort of disappeared for a little bit. Probably the 2 big ones, or the 3 big ones that we haven't seen from Richmond yet, have been Jasper Elgar, if we're talking preseason form. And then there's Josh Smiley. And is it Taj Houghton coming back from a
He's still coming back.
knee?
Yeah.
He's still coming back from a knee. And then you've also got Gibcus as well that we shouldn't be forgetting about too, who's coming back from a knee. He's a rookie price defender too. He's not back yet. He's got some time away. Look, honestly, I like Alga. He looked really good over the summer. So I'm surprised it's taken him this long to get go. One to keep an eye out on, but where is he lining up? I'm just trying to see where he is.
If he does play, it's probably a forward role.
Yeah, it's a forward. And if you notice that Jonty Fall and Armstrong, they were not great scorers. And Tom Lynch has not been a great scorer. So I wouldn't be going Alga myself. If he's on the bubble and there's no other options, maybe. And Richmond play late most weeks, so you can use him as a sub if he's dropped later on. But I'm just not. Earls doesn't like the Brock idea. I like Brock. I think he's an option.
He's a 1 week play. He's going to pretty much be dead after this week, and you're just basically hoping that Jeremy McGovern goes down again. But
which is not. I mean, that's the thing.
It's not out of the question. But I don't love it. I would rather have Boxall, an El Hawley, or a Fonte.
But then remember that West Coast played late on a Sunday, basically every week. So he's a loop after this as well.
I mean, if you don't have a loop, then I don't mind it at all. Then he just becomes a loop. But that's if you don't have. Everyone's got a Bo Allen or a Patton at this point, or a
Patton's going to go up in money again.
Patton is playing. Yeah,
he's a trade out.
I don't hate the Brock idea. I'm not. No way am I doing it. I don't need to. I still think you can at least wait until after. If Boxall is named the sub, then I think you can maybe look at it. But if Boxall is not sub, then just get him. I think it's pretty safe to say.
I've got the box at the moment, personally. Also, I get to call. I just think that his name as the box is just fun. I'd rather say it than Brock. It's just more fun.
Horse, do you reckon Tom Gross comes back into this team? Just looking at
I
that
don't
bench,
know.
or probably not.
I don't know.
Who
Herbie.
back?
So, for those of you that don't know, Herbie was the original host with myself and Rob Kennedy, the Hawk, here on the Insight Fantasy channel many, many years ago when we'd get 40 views a show. And very, very funny man and someone that is a brother of mine. Love the bloke. Toby Pink, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. No fucking way, mate.
Elijah Hewitt named on field in the centre bounce for those who have him. That's great to see.
Who's that? Sorry?
Elijah Hewitt, your boy.
Yeah.
Thrilled. Bet you'd be thrilled with that. I'm not.
So now I was going to boost this week.
We've got a whole
But
lot
now-
of panicking going on in this chat right now. I'm trying to calm it
But
down,
now-
and we've
yeah.
got some podcasters who are panicking too.
Yeah, I love this. I love it. Like it's a platform now that we're talking out aloud about what potentially could happen. So, Pete, you're very good at this type of stuff. Made a name for yourself, Instagram, Twitter, the whole lot. Now that this news has dropped about Erasmus, he's a DPP. He's going to be sub. He is going to play. He is going to make money. But is it going to be a 20? Is someone going to get hurt and he still gets a 50? Because he being the sub now, does that mean he's first out next week? How would you look at this?
I think that he's first out next week. That's my problem. I actually think that the scoring potential is fine, especially if he gets subbed on a little bit earlier if someone gets hurt. But I think that he's out next week straight away. If they were going to give him a proper go, it would not be a sub. It would just not be a sub. So the fact that they haven't given him a full game means that there's really just no point going there. I have been avoiding subs at all costs. I refuse to trade in a sub. It actually hasn't worked because Dudley's been pretty good, to be honest, since he was sub.
Yeah.
He's been okay. But no, not for me.
Can we talk about Ollie Wiltshire from Geelong?
We'll go down.
Or is the scoring not there?
Well, Wiltshire isn't probably. I don't think the scoring's there, and he's too big of a sub risk. Even just looking at that, I think he's probably the sub this week.
Okay.
How do I spell it again? Let's see.
Wiltshire.
Right, so we'll quickly get through the games because we got a whole bunch of questions here, Horse, as you'd expect with the panic room.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get through the last 2 games and then we can discuss. So for Geelong, Brian Myers, Ted Clohessy, George Stevens, Jed Buse, and Jay Polkinghorn. I think probably those last 3 will be the 3 that drop out. Lawson Humphreys out and Reece Stanley also out. So Mark Blitzarves and probably SDK as the rucks. Brian Myers back in, probably pushes. Maybe Jed Buse gets a game, which is gross to say. But it definitely pushes a guy like a Wiltshire out.
Okay.
Because he was, Manor was playing in his role. He was playing in Manor's role. It definitely didn't look great for him. And if Ted Clossy plays, that's probably him fully done.
Yep.
Anything else for Geelong? Wait a week on Max Holmes.
Yep.
That's about it. Tagged in this one. Well, Bedford is named.
Oof.
I still think it's Bailey Smith that's going to get tagged, but it could definitely be Max Holmes. I don't think there's a captain option for Geelong in this one.
I think Holmes is the more taggable. He does tend to not do great against a tag. He had a really bad score this year, and it was in a tag game. So
72 against someone I can't remember. Windhager, I think.
Bring it up. Yeah, there it is. Hang on, bringing it up. No, it was in Mel against. No, it was
Sparrow was on him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was also the Hawthorn game too, and then there was also the Carlton game. Nah, he doesn't like a tag at all.
He doesn't love a tag, no. GWS side of things, Jake Riccardi, Harry Rouston, Cody Ingrove, and Ryan Angwin. I'd assume the last 3 are probably just out, and Jake Riccardi will replace Darcy Jones. Cody Angrove can't be far off a debut, though. He's been looking fantastic ever since basically the preseason. Actually, he might even get a run over Josiah Delana. I don't know. I don't think he's done enough to hold his spot, Delana.
No, I don't think so.
If he does, it's probably a sub role this week. Anything going on for JWS? Not really.
Not really.
It's more the same team. Probably not much to talk about.
No, not from a Supercoach point of view. Let's go to the last game, which is North Melbourne versus the Brisbane Lions. Toby Pink, your man Herbie, he's in. Maybe. Aiden Core, George Wardlaw back, Zach Fisher, Griffin Logue, Geordie Payne, Callan Dawson, Jackson Archer, Will Phillips out for Brisbane. Logan Morris, fresh off the back of signing a 2-year deal. Kai Lerman, Ty Gallup, James Tunstall, and Darcy Fort. Sam Day, Will McLaughlin out. This will probably be a smashing with Lockie Neal going $3 million as captain.
Yeah, I've got Lockie Neal captain too. We'll start on the Brisbane side of thing just quickly. So it'll be a pretty simple swap. Sam Day and McLaughlin will just be Logan Morris and Kai Lerman. The other three will drop out. And then just a Brisbane side of thing, not much is going to change. It's going to be the same team. North, however, plenty of changes to go on here. We got 3 changes. 2 defenders and a midfielder of sorts. It's probably just going to be Pink, Core, and Wardlaw. But Griffin Logue's probably one that might go over Pink. I can't see Zach Fisher getting a run in this one, surely. Maybe over a Dylan Stevens or a Bailey Scott.
No.
But surely not with how they're running their team at the moment.
No, they can't have Zach Fisher and Caleb Daniel in the same back line.
No, it's not going to work. Harry Shees will name a half forward. He's been named a half forward every week, so that's not too much of a worry.
What's that, Pete?
So is Daniel a trader? Is that what we're saying?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Dane
Zorko, Pete, 501k.
I wouldn't touch him at all. Okay. I didn't start him purely because I thought that Kitty Coleman's going to come in at some point and he's going to take points away from him. And I still think that's going to happen. It's just happening a little later than what I was expecting. And he hasn't been playing great anyway. So personally, I think there's a lot of red flags and I would not be touching him. But I really like a Hugh McCluggage. He is under 600k, has been killing it this year. And Brisbane have a decent run coming up, starting with North Melbourne, who he should score about 200 against, because North Melbourne's barely an AFL team. So I love anyone in this game as a captain. If my VC fails, personally, I'm going Neil, because that's the guy that I have from the Lions, but I also love the Ashcrofts as well. Dunkley is due for a bounce back too. I don't have Tristan Cherry, but McInerney can sometimes be a negating ruckman. So wouldn't be captaining a Cherry in this game, personally.
No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, for me, it's probably, if my VC doesn't come off, which will probably be Dacos tonight, it's Neil. Yep.
Yeah, Neil, definitely. 100%.
Lads, they're the teams. We're going to get into some questions to make sure everyone at home is all over everything going on. So let's find it.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
It's time to paddock. Chris Cox, first time listening live. Hey, mate. Flynn and Bice out for Warner and Zorko a good trade, or is Zorko a keeper? I'd hold Zorko.
Yeah, I think.
Who's it got? Flynn and Bice out for Warner and Zorko. Oh, okay. So he's trading out a stepping stone or 2 stepping stones for 2 keepers.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind that.
Done. Good. That's good trading.
Yep.
I like it.
Kizza. Pete, how's the overseas Macca's Wi-Fi?
Didn't try the Wi-Fi. Did try the Macca's. It was good.
Someone say KFC. Fucking Bevo. Hey, legends. Oh, he's dropped the bus. Hate it.
Don't mind it.
Piss off, you. Corey, who are some good VC options now as Patton is in this week? He was looking at Gorner's VC. Well, I think tonight... Actually, Pete, you go first. Who do you think VC
So I'm actually look. I like Brayshaw in this game. I do, and my opponent in the main league, my main league, is going Brayshaw. I'm thinking Gawn as well, just because he's been so good. Do I really want to bet against someone that's played that well over the last 2 games? I understand the opponents are a factor here. Was looking at Gawn. I think Gawn or Brayshaw. I just love them too. And if they don't pay off, someone at Brisbane.
Deadly.
I only have 3 loops somehow at this point, and all of them play in the St Kilda Carlton match. So I'm forced into a VC tonight. So it's going to most likely be Nick Dacos and then Lachie Neale captain.
Yeah,
I'm not answering that question that just popped up. I'm just not.
No, that's not. That's not
and I know that you two read it as well at the same time because I saw your faces change.
No, we're not going to disrespect you like that, matey. Hindwager has to stick now. Yep, done. Classified veggie. What a name. Ryan 20, good value. I think he's talking 20 touches for tonight. Deadly.
No, so he's a good mate of mine, the veg. But he is a horrible gambler. He is a tragic gambler. And
we remind people to lock your bramble responsibly and only gamble within your means. Of
course. And definitely I wouldn't be following any of Veg's tips, I'll tell you that much. So no, I don't think Luke Ryan has a big game tonight.
Backer. Just got here late. Are we picking up Erasmus? Probably not now. He's sub.
Yeah, not now.
Nikhil, he is sub. Mazza, thought on Braden Fiorini and the 2 Essendon rookies. I would not picking up any of them, brother, not for SuperCoach. But from a AFL point of view, love the fact that Scott's playing the kids at Essendon. Old mate Drew, is Boxall the best choice now? Already own Hustwaite. I think that's a yes. Pete?
Mm-hmm. Look him in. I've just done it. Literally, as we've been speaking.
Same.
Go to the box.
IJ, Tom Green has a big 100th game this week, 140 for Tom Green. I can see it happening.
He's been in really good form. He's gone under the radar.
I don't think I put my squeeze of the weekend, so I'm going to message Squid.
I will say Deadly's Mo has had a growth spurt since that image dropped.
Damn right it has.
For those that want to know about the image, there it is. You're a fine-looking young man there, aren't you? Unreal.
You're a nice-looking horse, I suppose.
Yeah. Will Bailey McDonald get full game time this week on the bubble? Not someone you need to worry about, Corey. Yeah, Silvertop Hurley, Boxall for sure. Friday night, so we'll get another look at a sub. Can loop back and fall back on El Hawley or Fonte. Love that from our man.
Good point.
IJ, I boosted for Archer Day weeks last week, only to make my trades work. Some say that was genius. Oh. IJ, of course it was. You could see into the future.
Gross. That's gross, but I love it.
Damo, don't ask me anything Freo anymore. Ras sub. Damo, if you don't already follow the Footy Mailberg, he is an absolute wealth of knowledge, and I highly encourage that if you're looking for something else to listen to apart from Insight Fantasy Sports during your day, that you listen to his podcast, because the guys that he gets involved in the podcast and the friendships he has in the SuperCoach community, it is unmatched. And really rate his work. Ripper bloke to boot. If you're desperate for a rook and don't care about score because you can get him into the bench, Lewis Hayes has a better chance of holding his spot in for the 6+ weeks than some of these rookies, and also likely won't be subbed due to the injury to Ridley. As an Essendon man, what do you think about that, Deadly?
It's probably true. Hayes probably won't drop out. Unless it's for who shall not be named, who's currently suspended from headbutting a bloke in the VFL. So I don't think he's coming back in. I think Hayes is pretty safe. And I don't mind that idea. I might even take Hayes over Brock.
Ooh, that's big.
That's spicy. Can't see you over the banner, Deadly.
What are you on about?
There you go. He's on. I don't think there's anything else here. Pete, before we knock off, I just want to say thank you. You've been a big part of the Insight community over the past 6 months, and people appreciate the work that you do behind the scenes, the Instagrams, the TikToks, all that sort of jazz that you point out. one of the best faces for SuperCoach there is in the community. We appreciate having you on, mate, and hopefully green arrows for you this week.
Thanks for having me again, guys. It's been good to be back. I've been really craving talking SuperCoach, and thanks for having me on. I'm going to get absolutely roasted on TikTok because about 30 minutes before this episode started, I posted about Erasmus being an absolute lock. No. So I cannot wait to open that. I cannot wait. I'm seeing notifications and I don't want to look at my phone.
Oh, dear.
So, that's going to be a fun one.
Jonas has given you best on as well, Pete.
Oh,
thank you.
Deadly, where can the people at home find you?
I'll take a vote. You can catch me there on Twitter, right there. I don't know. I'm still panicking, even though I've done my trades and I've had them done for a week.
Yep.
But yeah, I hope we helped you tonight. That's all I'll say.
Yep. The Veg wants to know Nick Dacos, Brayshaw 25 each, side bottom, Josh Dacos 20, good money doubler.
I literally sent him a money doubler yesterday, and it's almost exactly that, and he still doesn't want to take it. I don't understand him. But anyway, moving on.
Unreal. Ladies and gentlemen, this week for the Squeeze of the Week, as we know, our good friend Squid is in the process of taking his son home for the first time from hospital. We love that, Squid. So this week, the Squeeze of the Week is only going to be done within our Patreon. So there's no guesses in the chat. If you're in the Patreon, you guys are the only ones that get the opportunity to win the prize this week. So before the first game, chuck your scores in, and if you win a $40 prize pack thanks to the guys at the Standard Squeeze. But for tonight, this has been the Panic Room. There's been a shitload that's gone on. We've lived through it. We know who the subs are. We've got an idea of who to target this week. If you want to keep up to date with everything that we do, our trades, our insights, who we think you should be trading into, primos with good draws and all that sort of jazz, jump in the Patreon. It's a cup of coffee per month. That's right. Only a cup of coffee or less per month in order to get all of that, plus lots more. I'm the horse. Below me is Pete. Down below is Deadly. He's got a sick mustache. And we'll see you Sunday night for our week or round 9 review. We'll catch you then.